too late, but you might as well try. Look, you have to decide for yourself, Stephen A., especially you, Orlovsky. You have to decide for yourself. Was I making it up at the end of last year? Remember at the end of last year when I started pointing out that Wentz was regressing? Was I making it up? And then coincidentally, the regression continued this year, even as people continued to deny it, until it hit a point where it was undeniable? And I just got lucky? Why would I target Carson Wentz of all people, who I thought was the MVP until he got hurt in 2017? No, I was seeing things last year that told me this dude is heading in the wrong direction, and worse, he's being praised for it. He's not having to look in the mirror and fix the things that are going wrong. He's being told that he's excellent, and he's the reason the Eagles are winning. And when they're losing, when he's turning it over, it's not his fault. And that has continued this year. That's why they drafted a quarterback in the second round when Wentz was like 26 years old. Let's be realistic, guys. I'm sure they didn't want to start Jalen Hurts yet. He's not ready, I'm sure. But it's not about giving yourself the best chance to win a game you're going to lose anyway. It's about trying your best to fix Carson Wentz and holding him accountable to the team. He must be held accountable. Stephen A., he says that's just the way we do things around here, Wentz said. Because a couple weeks ago, he didn't feel nervous. I hope he's feeling nervous now. Maybe he'll start to address the many problems he's presenting as a quarterback.
I disagree with you, and I disagree with you for a multitude of reasons. Number one, I'm thinking about the receiving corps he has available to him. Not that impressive. Obviously, one of his primary targets, Zach Ertz, has been out. I'm also thinking about the fact that I'm looking at Doug Peterson and how this man has regressed. Carson Wentz has clearly regressed. Nobody's arguing with you about that. But I'm looking at Doug Peterson and what the hell are you doing? Just like I'm pointing the finger at Bruce Arians and Todd Bowles in yesterday's case because you're asking Tom Brady to cover up for a bunch of deficiencies with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You know, you might be asking Carson Wentz to do the same to a lesser degree with Philadelphia, and I don't think they can be absolved. Here's the ultimate indictment against Doug Peterson in my estimation, and why I'm not a proponent of Hurt starting over Wentz tonight. You've got guys in Miles Sanders and Boston Scott. They have averaged less than 16 carries combined a game this season. Miles Scott, I think that he's averaging about 4.8 yards a carry. Boston Scott, I'm sorry, is averaging over 5 yards a carry. These guys are running the football effectively enough, and you won't give them the damn football. Maybe if you ran the football a little bit more, you wouldn't be asking Carson Wentz to do so much, and as a result, he wouldn't be getting himself in so much trouble trying to play hero ball. So that's definitely something that needs to be addressed. And last but not least, here's the thing. Jalen Hurts is a phenomenal athlete. We saw what he did at Alabama. We saw what he did at Oklahoma. We know that the brother's a stud athlete that has a lot of promise, and we wish him nothing but the best. But we also know, we saw why he got pulled from halftime of that national championship game. We know why his career has struggled. We know what the question mark about him has been. His ability to throw the football. Clearly, Doug Peterson does not believe in him. Because Doug Peterson is on the record, Mac, saying the other day, you know what? If you're going to sit up there and make that move, you're throwing away the season. You're conceding that you're going to lose, and that's not what we want to do here. So that tells you all you need to know about his belief in Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has got to know that. And so if you go out on the field knowing that a head coach, was a bit compromised or a bit disgruntled about letting you be in that role, and then you go out there and you don't perform, it could mess with your confidence moving forward. Why do that for this season? Why do that for this season? Carson Wentz made his bed, complete 58% of his passes, 14 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Let him lie in it. Let him lie in it and let him find a way to work his way out of this season, because they've got too many problems to fix. And that way you buy Jalen Hurts more time so you could build this confidence instead of jeopardizing it. That's my take.
Are the Bucs going to make the playoffs? Right now, they're sitting in the 6th spot. They're 7-5. They got Minnesota coming up in their next game. They're just a shade ahead of the Cardinals, who won the last spot. Love to hear from you. Key J&Z, 888-SAY-ESPN. Is Tom and company going to make the playoffs? An unthinkable question when the season started. Unthinkable. What did you see last night?
Well, when I look at the schedule, the 4 remaining games, they play Atlanta twice in there and Minnesota coming up, much like you mentioned. That's a tough, those 3 games alone right there. Got a coach fight and try to keep a job in Raheem Morris, which he's doing a hell of a job. He should just be given the job, in my opinion, second time around. Mike Zimmer, Minnesota Vikings are still trying to make whatever little bit of the season left possibly a playoff push based on what happened to the Bucs last night. Kansas City was just too much for them. Firepower-wise, they got out early. Tyreek Hill, you saw what he was able to do.
Wow.
Just ridiculous. I was hoping he got to 300 yards, though. I wanted to see him get to 300, and if he got to 300, I wanted to see him get to 400.
As a wide receiver, for those that missed it, 269 yards receiving. He had 203 yards receiving, folks, in the first quarter.
Yeah.
He had 203 yards receiving in the first quarter. Mahomes hit him on touchdowns of 75, 44, and 20 yards.
Well, that happens when I really didn't understand, and Todd Bowles knows this. He knows better as a defensive coordinator. You don't allow guys like Tyreek Hill to have free access and just run down the field unimpeded with no one touching him. Playing man-to-man without real help or without jamming them at the line of scrimmage, you're going to lose that battle every single time. And the way that you defeat the Kansas City Chiefs is you have to play physical and hard like the Raiders. You got to get up and challenge the defensive backs have to get up and challenge the receivers of the Kansas City Chiefs. So therefore, when Patrick Mahomes goes to throw the football, he knows that it's going to be tough and I got to get the ball out there. My guys are going to be rerouted. But when you allow them to just run up and down the field, it's ridiculous. And on top of that, it was great game planning by Eric Bieniemy to understand that the guys that were covering Tyreek Hill Dean couldn't keep up with him. It was just like, there's the duck. We're going to shoot him down. Find 24 wherever he's at on the field, and we're going at him. And that was one of the things that Eric Bieniemy and that staff did from an offensive standpoint. But defensively, the Bucs didn't do enough. They did not do enough to cover up some of their deficiencies in the secondary.
Are their Super Bowl aspirations done?
I never really thought that the Tampa Bay Bucs were a Super Bowl team. I understand we get excited in sports media fan base. They get so excited that Tom Brady and Gronkowski is coming to town and, we're going to the Super Bowl. Look at Vegas. The Vegas says we're favorite. We're doing this. No, I never felt that way. I always felt like Seattle, New Orleans, Green Bay, those three teams was kind of going to be the ones that would come out of the NFC. When you think about it, yes, Tom Brady's won 6 Super Bowls, been to 9. But there's no offseason. There's a pandemic. He's going to a new system and trying to learn exactly what it is that they need to get done within this system. It's not 20 years of New England. I know everything about New England system because I built the system. I am the damn system. I can run the system blindfolded, where you look at some of the things in Tampa and you say to yourself, what are they asking Tom Brady to do? Are they asking Tom Brady to do Tom Brady things, or are they asking them to do Bruce Arians and Byron Leftwich things? Mine is more Bruce Arians and Byron Leftwich. Just watching the game, not being in the meeting room, but also understanding an offense that I've seen in New England over the last 20 years, and some of the concepts that they did in New England has not transferred with Brady to Tampa Bay.
It's something that Tony Romo said earlier this week, and he essentially
I'm listening to me. I ain't listening to Tony.
But he essentially said what you said, which is everything in New England was just instinctual. I can just turn around, close my eyes, 2.5 seconds, put the ball up. No Edelman is going to be there. And there's no way outside of Gronkowski he can have any sort of relationship like that with any Bucs player.
Tony's 100% right about that, though. You could just, that's why when you think about players and you think about guys moving from team to team, it's people say, well, why would he go there? Familiarity. Maybe not with the team or the system. Maybe not with the team or the organization, but with the system that's being run. Is I can go right now to a number of teams that I played for. If those systems are in place, if I went to Oakland right now after however long I've been retired, it's second nature. I'll pick it up like it's nothing. But if I go to the Tampa Bay Bucs, I've never been in Bruce Arians' system. So it's going to be foreign language to me. I'm going to be like trying to figure it out. But if I go to New England, or if I go to where those systems, you just plug me right in. It may look ugly. It may look like that Mike Tyson fight, nice and old, but I would know where to be and I would know where I need to go. And I think Tom Brady is struggling at that outside of Gronkowski.
Even the elder statesman Brady is young compared to Mike Tyson. We'll talk about Tyson and his adventurous weekend at 6:45. Last thing, are the Chiefs beatable? Obviously they are because they've lost the game, but you know what I mean.
The right situation, you probably could catch him on a bad day, but if you catch him on the wrong day, you're going to get run out the building. That's just, I don't know how, I sit up and I marvel at Patrick Mahomes. He did something last night on a throw. that was just, oh, I know what it was. He manipulated. It didn't convert. It was a 3rd and 16.
Okay.
And it did not convert. But he got the ball out. The receiver tried to attempt to catch the ball, but they batted it down. Man, that was a hell of a throw. That was a hell of a throw. And they was like 1 yard short of the first down, Zubin. And I was saying to myself, okay, the receivers, all right, whatever. But if that was one of the big boys receivers, I mean, that would have been a completion, but the throw was just crazy. And you can't, you just, or the one that he dropped over the defender's head on a laser, back shoulder touchdown. I mean, that's picture perfect. You know how many times coaches have tried to get quarterbacks to do that and they can't for no reason at all?
We're now at a point where his incompletions are amazing. That's where we're at this point. And for the beatable aspect, yes, Raiders twice, clipped him once.
Not seeing him enough on commercials, though.
Yeah, should have lost to the Chargers, may have lost to the Bucs, but they pull out the win. On the way, speaking of win, this team has won 3 in a row. They're in first place. They had one of their biggest wins of the season. So why was the flight home so miserable? We'll get into that.